Whoa, we're back to the washed out. That's good. Let's accentuate how pasty I am. It's actually a cloudy day, believe it or not. So, yeah, we're gonna change this. Okay, that's moderately. All right. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today, just like I do the second Thursday of every month, is Tag Thursday. I'm very excited about this. I just found a really cool tag a couple of days ago by Luli Hernandez, and I'm super sorry if I said your name wrong. I speak multiple languages. None of them are Romance languages. Just gonna throw that out there. My accent is atrocious. I've accepted this. So she did a book tag based off tarot cards. And I thought this was a really cool tag. She took 10 cards from the Major Arcana, which, if you're not familiar with tarot, might sound a little weird, but she took 10 cards that were easily recognizable from tarot, and she put bookish prompts with them. So I'm very excited about this, and let's get started. Question number 1. I'm sorry if you guys see me looking at my phone, I just need the questions, and I can't have it out of frame because I'm not wearing my glasses. Question number 1, The Fool. Pick a book that brings back nostalgic memories. Okay, this one's easy. I'm choosing Abarat. This is not the first book. This is actually the second book, Abarat Days of Magic, Nights of War by Clive Barker. This series has I'm sure if you've seen any of my other tag videos, especially my 50 rapid questions tag, you know that I'm absolutely obsessed with Abarat. This is a series that follows a girl named Candy Quackenbush and her adventures in the land of Abarat, where it's an archipelago where each island represents a different hour of the day, and it's always that hour on that island, and that changes like the mood of the island, how people dress and what they do. And then there's the mysterious 25th island, which is the time out of time. I am obsessed with this book. When I was a kid, I was living in Central California during the energy crisis in California, where we had scheduled power outages. So we would have blackouts for hours at a time, and we would put a bunch of food in a sink with cold water and ice, or in an ice bucket, and one of the moms in the neighborhood would get together, and she would they had different activities planned. Our house was always the reading house, and my mom would read a chapter of, or a few chapters of Abarat whenever the power went out, and that was really important to me. And it was some of my favorite memories from childhood, because I was able to get absorbed into this, and I was surrounded by the people, which was kind of anxiety inducing, but it introduced me to a lifelong love of this series. I will literally buy any of Clive Barker's children's books in a heartbeat because of this series. So this was really nostalgic for me. Alright, question number 2. The Magician. Pick a main character that is goal-oriented or very focused. Question, I'm going to use The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This book follows a bunch of different characters. Severin is very, very focused, and he's very goal-oriented. So this is a heist story, a fantasy heist story set in the Gilded Age in Paris. I loved this book. I devoured it when I finally sat down to read it. This is the Owl Crate cover, so it's different than the normal cover. And this is what it looks like without the dust jacket on. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah, so this is a book with a character who's very, very goal-oriented and really can't be bothered not to be an asshole. I had strong emotions about this book. Okay, next question. The Empress. Pick a book with a strong motherly figure. Strong motherly figure. For this one, I'm going to go with Island of the Ants by Eva Botson. Eva Botson? E-V-A? Eva? Eva? If you know the answer, please tell me down below. Eva Botson. This tells the story of 3 women, Aunt Etta, Aunt Coral, and Aunt Myrtle, who have an island where they take care of magical creatures. So selkies, mermaids, all sorts of creatures. And they end up kidnapping 2 kids, Minette and Fabio, who needed to be kidnapped. It sounds awful, but it's actually a really cute story. It's hard to explain. But these 2 kids arrive on the island, and they are brought in to help take care of the creatures because grown-ups just can't be trusted. And all 3 of these characters are very motherly in their own way. All the aunts are. And this is one of my favorite books of all time. I collect Ava Botson's books, and I really want to read more of hers. I think I only have 3. I have Witch Witch, The Secret of Platform 13, and Island of the Ants. These are children to middle grade novels. They're very short, they're very quick to read, but they're a lot of fun and they have some really good messages. So I'm going to choose Island of the Ants for the Empress, a book with a strong motherly figure. The Lovers. So the next prompt is The Lovers. Pick a book with your favorite relationship/couple. The Lovers. For the Lovers prompt, I'm choosing Sophie and Howl from Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne-Jones. This is very different from the anime. From the Studio Ghibli movie, although it's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, but it's still a very, very cute story, and I still love Sophie and Howl's relationship in this book. It was really cute, it was really wholesome. This story mostly is about coming to terms with yourself. There's also some really, really cute moments in this book, and it's one of my favorites. I read this when I was 10, 12, and 18 years later, I can still remember all of the visceral emotions I felt reading this book. In fact, if I ever get a reread prompt, this is going to be it. Again, middle grade to young adult fantasy. Really quick, really big font. Like, it's not a hard read at all. I highly recommend this. Next, it's Justice. Pick up a book that makes you feel heard or you feel represented. For the Justice card, I'm picking Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones. Not for the female character, however. I don't like talking about this a lot on my channel, but I have some chronic medical conditions that make it to where I'm in pain a lot of the time. They don't know for sure what's wrong with it, and because of COVID, we haven't really been able to do the tests that are needed. And the Ellis, the male main character in this book, is in chronic pain from an old injury. And the way they represent it, and the way they represented Rin and her, or Reese? Rin, no, I was right. Rin's response to that when she finds out, and how she treats him, and how he's so used to being in pain and dealing with the pain and not showing it on the surface, is something I really related to. It was something that made me feel as if the author really knew what it was like to be in chronic pain, and how it's not that we're not in pain, it's that we're so used to being in pain that it doesn't affect us the same way anymore. And when we finally show we're in pain, we're in a lot of pain. So that probably led to why I gave this book 5 stars. Because it really meant a lot to me, because I hadn't seen that type of representation in a book before. An honorable mention for this one is Alice Isn't Dead, which I'll put right here. Which is for the anxiety representation. The main character has massive anxiety, and I have a lot of anxiety. So that's, I talked about this in my newbie tag, but that book made me feel very seen, and like the anxiety was palpable and real, and I understood where she was coming from and how much it meant for her to overcome that anxiety to get done what she needed to get done in the story. So, same cup as last week, my Swedish cat charity mug. I'm drinking the coffee flavor that came in the Owl Crate box for June. It's not a spoiler. That was all over their Instagram and email newsletters and everything. It's not a spoiler. Bones coffee flavor. I'm not telling you what flavor because that would be a spoiler, but it's very good. This is like really freaking good. I threw some hazelnut creamer in there too. Okay. Death. Pick a book that has forever changed you. Whew. Oh, okay. We're getting into that part of life, are we? So, I could use Apparat again, because like I said, that was part of my very formative years. And I think it's actually more beloved to me than like all the other childhood books that like defined my childhood. That is the one that I will always go back to. But the one that I'm going to use for this prompt is actually Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is a satire version of a utopia, so it's more of a dystopian future where babies are now made in bottles, where the idea of exploring your sexuality is very respected, but you have mandated birth control. How society has become more hedonistic rather than practical, and how it was more important for everybody to experience that hedonism and all of the sensations that come with it, rather than focusing on the major problems. I read this book shortly after I had made a cross-country move with my parents and my sisters. I was alone, I had no friends, I had just turned 16, I was in a really dark place, and I had to read this book for school. And it quite literally changed my outlook on what was going on around me. It made me start digging deeper into social issues and reproductive issues and this idea that as long as it feels good, it must be fine. And it kept me from going down a very dark path. So I'll always be thankful to this book. However, it's dark. It's short, but it is dark. If you're looking for a dystopian that has a dark ending and is hard-hitting, I highly recommend Brave New World by The Devil. Pick a character that makes you scream because of how frustrating they are. Oh, I've got this. Hang on. I'm choosing Rand? No, Matt. Definitely Matt. Let's go with Rand. I'm choosing Rand al'Thor from The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first book in the Wheel of Time series, which has 14 books. And it is a very good story. It's a good way to prep for the rest of the series. I'm actually looking forward to reading the rest of the series after I get over this one. I loved this book. I hated the characters, and Rand al'Thor was right up there. Rand al'Thor is one of the main 5 characters. Main 7 characters. Let's say main 7 characters. He is... I'm trying to figure out how to say this without spoilers. He starts out in a village called Emmons Field, and the story follows him and his friend's adventure as they go out into the world to try to escape from the Dark One and set up that battle, which obviously there's 14 books, so that battle isn't going to come for a while. But let me tell you about Rand al'Thor. Rand al'Thor is misogynistic, he's prejudiced, and he is weak when it comes to standing up to his friends. I said it, I'm not taking it back. You can come after me in the comments, but I'm telling you, I will fight you. He spends the book worried about his girlfriend, kind of girlfriend, not really girlfriend, Egwene, and how he actually says, when she was like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, he was like, well, it's not her fault that she can do this, so I'm gonna go and make up with her. And then when she was like, no, I'm still mad at you, kind of fuck off, he's just like, well, fine, if she wants to be mad at me. It's like, really, dude? Really? Really? And then everywhere they go, he holds this very prejudiced attitude about everybody else around him. It's Matt, that was very frustrating because he was going through a lot of growth at the same time, but he wasn't changing his attitudes, and it was super annoying. So very annoying. An honorable mention is Matt from the same book. You want to talk about an idiot? The answer is Matt. So I'm not saying that this is a bad book. You should definitely read it if you like epic fantasy. It's a bit of a chunker. We're talking like over 700 pages here, but it's a well-built world. It's well written. It was compelling enough, even though I didn't like the characters all that much, to keep going. That tells you how good this book is. However, I'm not gonna lie. The characters made me scream. The Tower. Pick a book that destroys a certain stereotype. I'm gonna go with The Deep by River Solomon. This is a Afrofuturism, sci-fi, fantasy, mermaid story. It's kind of genre busting for me. It's speculative fiction. So it tells a story of Yetu, and she is the historian for her people, the Wajinru. And this is not this doesn't go with the whole beautiful mermaid type. Okay, this doesn't follow the Little Mermaid type stereotype of mermaid. This isn't a beautiful woman who's becomes a mermaid. No, this is very different. The Wajinru are mermaids, yes, but they are mermaids in the sense that they are humanoid creatures that live in the deep water of the ocean. It's hard to explain. So the concept of this is that the pregnant African slave women who were thrown overboard when they went into labor or just because they were pregnant as being troublesome, their children survived and created a race of creatures called the Wajinru. And it's a beautiful and touching story. It's a great story. It has, I don't really want to say that it's a non-binary character, but kind of. This book just kind of turns the whole mermaid stereotype on its head, and I loved it. It was weird, but I loved it. The Star. Pick an inspirational book. I'm going to go with a poetry collection for this, and that's Fierce Fairy Tales by Nikita Gill. This is a sort of retellings in both prose and poetry about traditional fairy tales. So what she did was she took traditional fairy tales, those traditional tropes and cliches, and she turned them on her head, and she based this poetry and prose collections, kind of both, around them. It was fantastic. It was very moving. I love to see how she approached some of these characters. I think particularly, for instance, The Giant's Daughter, which talks about learning to take up room. which for a lot of us is really hard because we're taught to like minimize ourselves, to take up as little room as possible so you're not noticed, so you're not picked on, so you're not harassed, so you don't come out into the forefront. Some of these poems and stories have a great moral behind them, and I absolutely loved it. I really did. This is one of my favorite poetry collections. Honorable mention is The Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill as well, which does the same thing but with goddesses, as well as the Magical Women series, Women Are Magical series by Amanda Lovelace. Also honorable mentions. I know I could have chosen a self-help book or something for that, but I really wanted to do a non-traditional inspirational book. So there we go. The Sun. What author do you hope becomes a household name because of how amazing their work is? Clive Barker's Aberrat series. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it really is one of my favorite series, and I'm sure you guys are tired of it, so let's pick another one. River Solomon. They do a lot of speculative fiction and Afrofuturism. Eva Botson. Yeah, those are my big ones. So Eva Botson, Clive Barker, River Solomon. They're so good. They're so good. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tag. I tag everybody who's watching. Please do this tag and then leave your links down below so I can watch them. I have put the link to the tag, to the original tag video, in the cards, and I've also linked her down below. Please check out her channel. It's really, really cool to see somebody with under 500 subscribers coming up with this really unique book tag, and I really enjoyed doing it. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm still coming up with what special thing I'm going to do to celebrate the number of subscribers I've been gaining lately. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much. It means so much to me that you guys stop by and watch my videos every week. I am going to try to put out another video on Sunday as well. So if you liked what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Today's question: what would your answers for this prompt if you're not doing a video? What would your answers for this prompt be? I really look forward to reading your comments, guys. Thanks so much again. All the best coffee, wine, and books to you. Cheers.